You know, people talk about success like it's some mysterious code that only a few geniuses can crack. But let me tell you the truth. Productivity isn't magic. It's a formula, a pattern, a rhythm that anyone, including you, can master. The reason most people never tap into massive productivity isn't because they're lazy or untalented, it's because they're scattered. They wake up reacting to life instead of creating it. Think about it. How often do you grab your phone the moment you open your eyes? You scroll, you check messages, you check what other people are doing, and before you know it, your mind is already in 100 directions that have nothing to do with your goals. Productivity starts long before you open your laptop, before you touch your phone, before you even take your first sip of coffee. It begins in your mindset, in the clarity you create the night before, in the decisions you make when nobody's watching. You see, massive productivity isn't about doing more. It's about doing less, but doing it with laser focus. Imagine sunlight. When it's scattered, it just warms your skin. But when you focus it through a magnifying glass, it can start a fire. That's exactly how productivity works. Most people live like sunlight, scattered, warm, but never powerful. The productive ones? They're the magnifying glass. They direct every ounce of their energy toward what actually matters. And here's the secret. Productivity isn't time management, it's energy management. You can have 24 hours in a day, just like every billionaire, every athlete, every artist. But what separates the extraordinary from the ordinary is not the clock. It's the clarity. It's how you manage the invisible fuel inside you, your focus, your emotions, your willpower. Productivity is less about doing and more about being. Being intentional, being present, being consistent. I remember a time when I used to confuse busyness with productivity. I would make long to-do lists, check things off, and feel good for a moment. But when I looked at the big picture, I realized I hadn't actually moved closer to my dreams. I was spinning in circles, working hard but not moving forward. And maybe you can relate, that feeling of exhaustion at the end of the day. But when you ask yourself, what did I actually accomplish? The answer is, not much. That's not productivity. That's motion without progress. It's like running on a treadmill. Lots of effort, zero distance. The formula for massive productivity begins with one simple shift. Clarity before action. You can't be productive if you don't know what matters most. Every morning, your mind wakes up with limited focus. Think of it like a battery. If you waste that charge scrolling, worrying, or reacting to things that don't matter, you'll have nothing left for what does. Productivity is about protecting that charge, directing it, and refueling it. And the first element of this formula is focus. Focus is your compass in the chaos. It's saying no to 100 good things so you can say yes to the one great thing. It's deleting distractions not because you hate entertainment, but because you value your destiny more. The second element is energy, because what's the point of focus if you're drained? You can't pour from an empty cup. Massive productivity requires massive energy, and that comes from your habits. What you eat, how you sleep, how you move, and how you think. If your body is tired, your mind will follow. You can't expect sharp ideas to come from a foggy brain. That's why the most productive people in the world protect their mornings like sacred time. They don't start their day with noise. They start it with clarity. They meditate, they plan, they move their body, they breathe. They prime their energy before they spend it. The third element is execution, turning clarity and energy into motion. Productivity is not about perfection. It's about consistency. You don't need to take giant leaps every day. Small, deliberate steps compounded over time create miracles. Think of a tiny snowball rolling down a hill. It starts small, but as it keeps moving, it gathers momentum, power, and size. That's how productivity grows. Every focused day adds to your momentum. Every completed task builds confidence. Every disciplined choice compounds. But here's the hidden part of the formula most people ignore. Recovery. Even machines need rest. You can't run at full speed forever. The key to sustainable productivity is knowing when to push and when to pause. Rest is not laziness. It's strategy. It's the reset that prepares you for another surge of performance. Productivity isn't a sprint. It's a marathon made of powerful intervals. You sprint, you rest, you sprint again, and over time you outlast everyone who tried to go all out every single day. If you want massive productivity, you must build rhythms, not random bursts. Plan your days like waves. Intensity followed by calm. Creation followed by reflection. That's how great thinkers, inventors, and leaders maintain their output for decades. They don't burn out because they understand balance. Now I want you to visualize your life as a garden. Each seed you plant represents a goal, a task, a dream. Productivity isn't planting 100 seeds in one day. It's watering the few that matter, consistently, every morning. The mistake people make is trying to grow everything at once. They spread themselves too thin, then wonder why nothing blooms. The formula for massive productivity is focus, energy, execution, and recovery, repeated day after day. It's a cycle, not a one-time effort. You can't be productive on Monday and expect results on Sunday. You have to show up every single day even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it, because that's when discipline takes over. Discipline is the invisible bridge between intention and achievement. It's the glue that holds your formula together. Without discipline, clarity fades, energy leaks, and execution fails. Productivity thrives on consistency. It's not about motivation. Motivation will start you, but discipline will keep you going. Think of motivation as the spark, but discipline is the fire that keeps burning through storms. I've learned this the hard way. There were days when I didn't feel like writing, creating, or showing up, but every time I pushed through, I built something inside me stronger than comfort. Momentum. And once you have momentum, productivity becomes effortless. You no longer have to push yourself. The habit pulls you. That's what this formula does. It transforms hard work into natural rhythm. When you build clarity, protect your focus, manage your energy, execute with discipline, and honor your recovery, you enter flow. And flow is where productivity becomes art. Flow is when hours feel like minutes, when work feels like play, when you forget about time because you're deeply aligned with what you're doing. That's the ultimate level of productivity, not stress, not chaos, but harmony. And the good news? It's available to anyone willing to apply the formula. It's not luck. It's not talent. It's commitment, multiplied by consistency, powered by clarity. That's how you become unstoppable. This is your starting point. The formula for massive productivity begins with awareness, and in the next part, I'll take you deeper into how to apply each of these elements step by step so you can transform your days from scattered to unstoppable. Now that you understand the foundation of massive productivity, clarity, focus, energy, execution, and recovery, let's go deeper into how to actually live it every single day. Because knowing the formula means nothing if you don't apply it. The truth is, productivity is not built in one breakthrough moment. It's built in the invisible, ordinary moments that no one claps for. It's built when you wake up early even though your bed feels like heaven. It's built when you sit down to work even though you don't feel inspired. It's built in the quiet choices that no one notices but compound into everything you've ever wanted. So let's break down the formula and translate it into something you can live. Let's start with clarity. You can't hit a target you can't see, and most people's days are filled with blurry goals. They want success, but they can't define it. They want change, but they can't describe what it looks like. If I asked you, what does a productive day look like for you? Could you answer in one clear sentence? If not, that's your first step. Massive productivity requires you to define what success looks like daily, not someday. Write it down every morning. Not a to-do list of 50 things, but the top 3 outcomes that will move your life forward. Ask yourself, if I only accomplish these 3 things today, will I be proud of my day? When you answer that honestly, you simplify your chaos. Clarity is a filter that helps you protect your focus from everything that doesn't serve your goals. It's the lens that separates movement from progress. Once you have clarity, you'll notice how easy it becomes to say no. And saying no is one of the highest forms of self-respect. Every yes you say to distractions is a no to your dreams. The formula for massive productivity demands that you become ruthless with your time. Every minute has value, and you can't afford to waste it on things that don't align with your purpose. The next element, focus, is where most people lose the battle. We live in an age where attention is the new currency and everyone is trying to steal yours. Notifications, messages, endless scrolling, they all fight for your mind's bandwidth. You need to treat your focus like gold. Guard it, protect it, train it, because focus is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. The easiest way to train focus is through intentional deep work. No phone, no noise, just one task, one goal, one mission. Even 30 minutes of deep focus can outperform hours of distracted work. Start small. Commit to just one deep work session every day. You'll be amazed how much progress you make. Focus is not about willpower. It's about design. Create an environment that supports your intention. Clean your desk, silence your phone, plan your workspace. The less friction you have between you and your task, the faster you'll enter flow. Now, let's talk about energy, because even the clearest mind can't function on an empty tank. Think of yourself like a high-performance engine. The better your fuel, the smoother your drive. Energy comes from physical health, mental clarity, and emotional stability. If one of these is off, your productivity suffers. Start with your body. Hydrate, move, rest, and nourish yourself with real food. A tired body can't produce focused thoughts. Then comes your mind. Protect it from negativity. Don't fill it with noise, gossip, or endless content that doesn't feed your growth. Every piece of information you consume either sharpens your mind or dulls it. Be intentional. Energy also depends on your emotional state. When you carry resentment, stress, or regret, your focus leaks through emotional cracks. Learn to release. Forgive quickly. Let go of what you can't control. Massive productivity thrives on emotional freedom. When you lighten your inner load, your outer work becomes lighter too. And now we move to execution, the heartbeat of productivity. Execution means turning thoughts into movement. You can plan all day, but without action, clarity is wasted potential. The best performers don't wait for the perfect plan. They start, they adjust, they evolve. Productivity is a dance between progress and correction. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be persistent. There's a saying I love, action cures fear. When you act, uncertainty loses its grip. So take action daily, small, consistent action, because the formula rewards momentum. Don't underestimate the power of starting. You don't need to see the whole staircase, just take the first step. Every task you finish is a vote for your future self, a signal to your brain that you're capable, committed, and serious. Each completed action strengthens your identity as a doer, not a dreamer. Execution builds confidence, and confidence fuels execution. It's a beautiful cycle of growth. But even as you move, remember, recovery is part of the formula. This is where most people fail. They think rest is for the weak, but that's a lie. The strongest performers rest strategically. You must give your mind time to breathe. Just like your muscles grow during rest, not during workouts, your creativity and clarity expand during downtime, not in constant activity. Schedule recovery into your life. Naps, walks, quiet reflection, moments of gratitude. Learn to pause before burnout forces you to. True productivity is not about squeezing every second of the day. It's about optimizing your hours for maximum impact. And let's not forget the glue that holds all of this together, discipline. Discipline is doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. It's waking up when your mind says sleep. It's showing up when excuses whisper louder than ambition. Discipline transforms your potential into performance. Every time you choose discipline, you're rewriting your identity. You're telling yourself, I am someone who keeps promises. And that belief changes everything. Discipline builds trust, not with others, but with yourself. When you trust yourself, you stop procrastinating because you know you'll follow through. That's where massive productivity lives, in self-trust. The more you honor your word to yourself, the stronger your productivity muscle becomes. Think of discipline as a shield that protects your progress from the storms of doubt and distraction. Without it, even the best plans crumble. But with it, even ordinary people achieve extraordinary results. The formula is simple, but not easy. That's why so few ever master it. Because mastery demands consistency. You can't build a masterpiece by working only when you feel inspired. You build it by showing up even when inspiration is nowhere in sight. Productivity doesn't require you to be perfect. It requires you to be relentless. Day after day, choice after choice, brick after brick. The compound effect of consistent discipline is unstoppable momentum. And here's something you need to understand. Momentum is sacred. Once you have it, protect it at all costs. It's easier to stay productive than to start again after stopping. Every time you stop, you have to rebuild inertia. That's why consistency beats intensity. Anyone can work hard for a day, but very few can show up every day. Be one of those few. Your life will change in ways you can't even imagine. You'll feel more in control, more alive, more purposeful. The formula for massive productivity is not about working like a machine. It's about working like a master. Machines repeat, masters refine. You refine your process, your focus, your habits. You become more efficient not by doing more, but by doing better. You design your days like an artist designs a canvas, intentionally, purposefully, beautifully. And when you start to live this way, you'll notice something magical. Productivity stops feeling like effort and starts feeling like expression. It becomes who you are, not what you do. In the next part, we'll go deeper into the science of momentum. How to maintain consistency when motivation fades, how to break through mental resistance, and how to turn your productivity into an unstoppable force that propels every area of your life forward. Because once you learn how to sustain this formula, you won't just be productive, you'll be unstoppable. Let's talk about momentum, that invisible force that turns effort into excellence and discipline into domination. Momentum is the most powerful part of the productivity formula because once you have it, everything becomes easier. You stop forcing yourself to move and movement becomes your nature. Think about a train starting from rest. It takes massive energy to move the first few inches, but once it's rolling, it takes little to keep it going. That's how productivity works. The beginning feels heavy because you're fighting inertia, procrastination, distraction, doubt. But the moment you take action, something shifts. Your brain releases dopamine, a chemical that rewards progress, and suddenly the thing you were resisting becomes satisfying. That's the secret. Progress creates motivation, not the other way around. You don't wait to feel ready. You start, and the feeling follows. Most people waste their lives waiting for the perfect mood, the perfect moment, the perfect plan. But perfection is a lie. Productivity belongs to the imperfect doers, not the flawless dreamers. You have to start ugly, start small, start scared, but start. Because every small action builds momentum, and momentum transforms small steps into unstoppable movement. Momentum is like compound interest. It multiplies over time. A small win today creates confidence for a bigger win tomorrow. Each completed task builds your identity as a finisher. And once your brain starts to associate effort with reward, consistency becomes automatic. You no longer need external motivation because you've internalized the reward loop. That's the real formula behind massive productivity. Make progress feel good. Reward yourself for the act of showing up, not just the outcome. Celebrate consistency more than completion. Because if you only feel proud when you finish something big, you'll quit too soon. But if you feel proud every time you move forward, you'll never stop. Momentum loves movement, any movement. Even the smallest task counts. You might think it's insignificant, but small actions are seeds, and when you water them daily, they grow into habits, and habits build your destiny. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't debate whether to do it, you just do it because it's part of who you are. Imagine if productivity became that automatic. That's the goal, to make focus your default, not your effort. To get there, you must design your environment for momentum. Environment always wins against willpower. If your phone is filled with distractions, your mind will drift. If your desk is cluttered, your focus will scatter. If your surroundings inspire chaos, you'll create chaos. But if your environment inspires focus, you'll create greatness. Build systems that make success easy and failure hard. Want to work out daily? Keep your gym clothes ready the night before. Want to write every morning? Place your notebook on your desk. Want to stay away from distractions? Log out of social media. Productivity isn't about trying harder. It's about designing smarter. When your environment supports your goals, momentum becomes natural. But here's another key. Protect your mornings. The first hour of your day determines the direction of the next 23. If you start your day in reaction, checking messages, scrolling, comparing, you lose before you begin. But if you start with intention, planning, gratitude, movement, you set the tone for power. Make your mornings sacred. Don't let the world's noise enter your mind before your own voice does. Even 5 minutes of quiet reflection, deep breathing, or journaling can shift your entire day. Think of your morning as launching a rocket. The first few seconds determine its entire trajectory. That's momentum. The next piece of the formula is mastering your state, your emotional and mental energy in the moment. Your productivity doesn't depend on how much time you have. It depends on how you show up in that time. You can have 8 hours and accomplish nothing if you're unfocused, or 1 hour and accomplish everything if you're in flow. The key is learning to control your state. How? By mastering your physiology. When your body moves, your state changes. Try it. Stand tall, breathe deep, stretch your body, and notice how your focus sharpens instantly. High performers use movement as a trigger for clarity. They walk while thinking, stretch before big tasks, breathe before important calls. Movement isn't just physical, it's mental reset. When you move your body, you move your mind. The next element is eliminating friction. Those small, invisible barriers that drain your focus. Friction hides in indecision. Every time you hesitate, your brain burns energy. Decide once, act quickly, adjust later. Decision-making speed is a superpower. The faster you decide, the faster you move. Don't overthink, start, then optimize. Productivity is about flow, not perfection. You can't steer a parked car, but once you're moving, you can adjust your direction easily. That's why the most productive people are also the most decisive, not because they always make the right choices, but because they're not afraid to make choices. Action brings clarity. Waiting brings confusion. Choose progress over perfection, always. And while you're moving forward, remember this. Energy leaks kill productivity. Every unfinished task, every broken promise, every delayed decision takes mental space. Close your open loops. Finish what you start, even if it's small. Your brain loves completion. It releases dopamine every time you finish something. That's why checking a box feels good. It's not trivial. It's neurological reinforcement. Use that to your advantage. Break big tasks into smaller chunks and reward yourself for progress. This builds psychological momentum. You'll start craving completion instead of procrastination. And speaking of procrastination, let's address it head-on because it's productivity's biggest enemy. Procrastination is not laziness. It's fear disguised as comfort. You delay not because you can't, but because you're afraid. Afraid of failing, afraid of judgment, afraid of not being perfect. The cure isn't motivation, it's movement. Action dissolves fear. The moment you start, the fear shrinks. Don't try to overcome procrastination by thinking about it. Move through it. Do one small thing. That's the formula. Shrink the task, not your dreams. The smaller you make the starting point, the easier it becomes to begin. Tell yourself, I'll just do 5 minutes. 5 minutes turns into 15, 15 into 50, and before you know it, you're done. Start small, finish strong. That's how momentum beats procrastination. And as you keep building, remember this truth. Productivity without purpose is just busyness in disguise. You can be efficient at the wrong things. Real productivity aligns your daily actions with your long-term vision. Every day, ask yourself, is what I'm doing right now bringing me closer to the life I want? If the answer is no, change your direction. Don't climb a ladder only to realize it's leaning against the wrong wall. Productivity is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters. Let your vision be the North Star of your action. When you align purpose with productivity, you become unstoppable because your effort gains meaning. You stop chasing validation and start chasing growth. You stop working for applause and start working for impact. And that's when productivity transforms from external success to internal fulfillment. Because true productivity isn't measured in hours or tasks. It's measured in progress toward purpose. Every productive person I've met has one thing in common. They know why they're doing what they're doing. Their why gives them energy, direction, and resilience. Without purpose, discipline feels like punishment. With purpose, discipline feels like devotion. The formula for massive productivity isn't just about managing your time. It's about managing your life around what truly matters. You're not just building habits. You're building a legacy. And every focused day is a brick in that legacy. So, as we move into the final part, I want you to remember this. Momentum doesn't just make you productive, it makes you powerful. Because once you master your focus, your energy, your discipline, and your momentum, you're no longer working for your dreams. Your dreams start working for you. They pull you forward. You become magnetic to progress. You become unstoppable. So here we are, the final piece of the formula, where everything you've learned about clarity, focus, energy, execution, recovery, and momentum merges into one unstoppable force: mastery. Because massive productivity isn't about adding more hours to your day, it's about extracting more life from your hours. It's about showing up with such purpose, such discipline, such consistency that your days become a reflection of excellence, not exhaustion. The truth is, most people never experience what real productivity feels like. Not because they can't, but because they never stay consistent long enough to taste it. They start strong, then stop when it gets hard, when it gets boring, when the results don't show up immediately. But mastery is born in repetition. Productivity isn't an event. It's a lifestyle. It's brushing your teeth, not climbing a mountain. It's what you do daily that defines your destiny. You see, we live in a culture obsessed with hacks and shortcuts, but there's no hack for commitment. There's no shortcut for consistency. The formula for massive productivity is simple, but it requires you to fall in love with the process more than the prize. Because when you fall in love with the process, you stop chasing motivation. You become it. You stop waiting for perfect circumstances. You create them. You stop counting hours. You start counting progress. I want you to imagine this. Every day you wake up with a limited number of focus coins. Let's say you have 10. Every decision, every distraction, every worry costs you 1 coin. By the time you get to your most important task, most of your coins are gone. That's how people lose the day. They spend their energy on noise, not purpose. But the masters, the truly productive ones, they spend their coins wisely. They save them for what matters most. That's why they achieve more with less effort. They don't try to do everything. They do the essential things with precision. You can too, but it starts with awareness. Ask yourself right now, where am I spending my focus coins? On social media? On gossip? On worry? Reclaim your coins. Reinvest them into your growth, your dreams, your craft. Because productivity is not about managing time, it's about managing attention. Time is infinite in moments. Attention is not. Where your attention goes, your energy flows and results grow. The formula is all about this alignment, directing your attention toward what gives you the highest return in growth and meaning. That's how you multiply productivity. And let's talk about something people rarely mention. Productivity is emotional. You can't separate your emotions from your output. The state of your mind determines the quality of your actions. If you're overwhelmed, anxious, or disconnected, your productivity will crumble. But when you operate from peace, confidence, and clarity, your work shines. That's why self-awareness is an underrated productivity tool. Learn to check in with yourself. Ask, how am I feeling? What's draining me? What's fueling me? Awareness allows adjustment, and every adjustment saves hours of wasted energy. The most productive people aren't robots. They're emotionally intelligent creators. They manage their inner world with as much discipline as their outer world. Because you can't produce brilliance from burnout. You can't create clarity from chaos. Take care of your mind like you take care of your body. Protect your peace like it's your greatest investment. Because it is. A peaceful mind is a productive mind. And while we're here, let's address the biggest myth of all. That productivity is about doing everything yourself. No, it's about leveraging. You don't have to do it all. You just have to make sure it gets done. Delegate, automate, and eliminate. If something doesn't require your genius, systemize it. Free your mind for what only you can do. That's how you scale your productivity beyond your limits. Remember, every yes is a commitment, and every commitment has a cost. Don't spend your energy on low-value tasks when your vision demands high-value focus. Think of your life as a garden again. Every yes is a seed. Be selective. Plant fewer, nurture deeper, and you'll grow more. The formula for massive productivity thrives in simplicity. Complexity kills execution. Simplicity fuels it. Simplify your goals, your systems, your habits. Productivity isn't about having more, it's about needing less. Less noise, less clutter, less confusion. Because clarity lives in simplicity. And here's the beautiful paradox. When you simplify your life, you amplify your results. Your focus sharpens, your stress fades, your creativity expands. Simplicity is the secret superpower of every high performer. But the formula won't work without one final ingredient, purpose. Purpose turns work into worship, effort into expression, and productivity into impact. Without purpose, you'll burn out chasing empty goals. With purpose, you'll burn bright creating meaningful change. Purpose gives energy meaning, and meaning gives life momentum. Every day, remind yourself why you started. Write it down. See it, feel it, let it guide your actions. Because the moment you forget your why, your productivity loses direction. Productivity without purpose is speed without steering. You'll move fast but go nowhere. So let your purpose anchor you when distractions tempt you to drift. And when you know your purpose, something amazing happens. You begin to operate from identity, not intention. You don't say, I'll try to be productive. You say, I am a productive person. And identity changes behavior faster than willpower ever could. When being productive becomes part of who you are, it stops being hard. It becomes habit. That's the real formula. clarity that defines your goals, focus that directs your energy, discipline that sustains your actions, recovery that renews your strength, and purpose that powers it all. You apply this formula day after day, and soon productivity stops being something you chase. It becomes something you embody. You live it, breathe it, own it. And here's the best part. Productivity isn't about working more. It's about becoming more. When you become more focused, more intentional, more disciplined, your output naturally multiplies. You don't need to chase results. Results chase you. That's why the formula works. It transforms you from the inside out. You evolve into someone who doesn't need external push because your drive comes from within. That's the highest level of productivity. When it's not forced, but fluent. When work doesn't drain you, it fulfills you. When your effort feels like purpose, not pressure. That's when you've cracked the code. That's when you stop living reactively and start living powerfully. And let me leave you with this. Productivity is not about being busy every second. It's about being present in every moment. It's about quality, not quantity. It's about creating progress that matters, not noise that distracts. The world doesn't need more busy people. It needs more purposeful ones. People who move with clarity, create with passion, and act with consistency. That's you. You have everything you need to live productively. It's not out there, it's in here. Inside your habits, your mindset, your choices. The formula is simple, but it demands your commitment. Wake up with intention. Focus on what matters. Protect your energy. Execute with discipline. Recover with grace. Repeat daily. And over time, you'll realize something powerful. Productivity isn't what gets you results. It's what makes you become the person who can handle them. It's not just about achieving goals. It's about becoming the kind of person who creates them effortlessly. That's the ultimate transformation, from being driven by pressure to being guided by purpose. So today, I challenge you. Stop waiting for the right time, the right tools, the right motivation. You already have everything you need. Start small, start now, start here. Build your formula one day at a time. Because one day of clarity beats a year of confusion. 1 hour of focus beats 10 hours of distraction. And one act of discipline can change the trajectory of your life. You are capable of massive productivity, not someday, but today. The formula is in your hands. Now it's your turn to live it. Protect your focus like gold. Guard your energy like treasure. And chase progress like your future depends on it, because it does. This is your moment. Don't waste it. The formula for massive productivity is already yours. Now go out there and prove it.